Hello, scholars, and welcome to week 6 of POL493 Principles of Public Administration. It's hard to believe, but we're already at week 6, so let's jump in and as we have in the past, we're going to review what is expected of us in week 6. Hopefully, get any clarification that you might need on your assignments this week. But hopefully, by this point, the concepts are starting to become fluid. We're starting to look things at topics through this lens of public administration, and all these concepts should be coming together, especially with the fact that we worked on an abstract this week. We should have some idea of what our papers are going to be looking like, and so let's look to see what we have here in week 6. So if we look at week 6, it's going to be another busy week. We have 3 assignments that are due this week, so let's ensure that we get those in. And like I always start these off, remember here in OPS, in this class, we are a Monday to Sunday schedule. So our week starts on Monday and it runs until Sunday at 11:59. So I need to have all these assignments in by 11:59 in order to get any credit for them. So this week, chapter 10 in the reading, Administrative Reform and Technology, you're going to find that this technology, this IT, that's going to be the theme of this week, and it's going to be carried throughout. So we're going to be talking about administrative reform. That's just new public administration typically, and then technology and the use of technology within public administration. We got a PowerPoint this week, and it's going to be fitting. It's going to be all about e-government and e-governance. And with that, as we normally do, we have a narrated portion to go along with the PowerPoint. Once again, Dr. Ahmad is going to be leading us through the use of e-government and e-governance. And in particular, what I want you to really focus on this week is to think to yourself, really the requirement for the modern city government, county government, federal government to incorporate e-government and e-governance. If you just think to yourself, everything that you're able to do electronically. We live in a very fast-moving society. We need almost instant gratification in every form of our lives. We expect that in all forms of our lives, so it makes sense that it carries over into our interactions with the government. So I always think to myself, I pay my bills online. I can book a vacation online. I can almost do everything online, so I expect my interactions with the government to be the same. And it could be something as simple as getting licenses, getting government information, getting rules and regulations. If I wanted to submit for a building permit, it's expected that city and local governments, federal governments, all layers of government have the ability and the expectation, and in a way too, it's another layer of accountability that this information is available to all individuals at any given time. So I want you to just focus on that this week. So I'm going to skip one down here, and we're going to look at what we have planned for this week. So week 6, by day 7, students are to compile an outline of the organization of their paper and headings, what we're looking for, and also create their template formatted paper with APA cover page and reference list of at least 6 scholarly sources as research material for their paper. And it says scholarly sources include journals, articles, books, and reputable websites. So we're going to be building this outline, this template this week. Builds upon our abstract that we had in week 5, and all this comes is working towards our week 8, our critical assignments, that 10 to 12 page paper. So to make life a little easier for this week, I have included this APA paper template, and if we open this document link, you're going to see what I consider to be, this is what I use in my writings, and I find that this is a very effective template to use when you do your writings. I particularly like headings. I feel that it is very beneficial to the reader. It enhances flow. It enhances transition. For some of us that aren't the most gifted creative writers, headings give us that ability for transition and flow that we might not be able to incorporate so eloquently in our writing. So I'm a big advocate of it. So what we look at here is I've attached this document. You can feel free to use it. You don't need to mimic it exactly. by no means, but it's a good template, and this is one of the models that was introduced to me early um, in my school career, and I still carry this on to my writings today. So we're going to start with our title page. Remember, that's just going to be your typical APA formatted title page. Anytime I'm referring to APA format, you were given the Purdue OWL links last week. Always reference those. That's not the only one, but it's so comprehensive that it's my go-to. But we're going to have a title page. Remember, headers, page numbers, and your name, your institution, and your paper topic on that first page. Then we're going to transition into our abstract. So if this was page 1, our page 2 would be our abstract, and we are going to do nothing more than steal our abstract from week 5, and so that should be completed. And then we go into our page 3, and we're going to have an introduction headline, and then I've included a kind of sample paragraph here. And let me move this up a little for you. The sample paragraph, and this is how I start most of my papers, and I feel that it's good, and it's nothing more than we're going to start with some verbiage that kind of includes that the intent of this paper is to evaluate blank, whatever it is. Let's talk about net neutrality. So the intent of this paper is to evaluate the equity and fairness of net neutrality. Then my next sentence is going to be, this is going to be building upon the recent current event, and if we're thinking about net neutrality, we could say this is going to be building upon the recent current event of the 2016 FCC regulations on net neutrality. And then this is where the breakdown occurs. The next transitional sentence is, the study will begin with a background of topic A. And when I see that A, remember that's just a hypothetical. You're going to be plugging in what A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever it needs to be is. But that next bullet, this next block, this next segment, I always start with a background. And in scholarly writing, a lot of times that's called a lit review. And what you are doing is you're painting the picture. You're bringing the reader up to your time of the background, the history, the events that you are going to be elaborating on. So that first sentence is going to be the background, or not the first sentence, the first paragraphs, pages, that first section of your paper is going to be the background. Second, the concept of B will be analyzed. So we're going to have that concept B as potentially the next portion of your paper. Next, C will be explored. And finally, D will be discussed. So you can see that we have our background, and then we're going to be introducing our different concepts. We're going to bring that all together with a conclusion, and then we are going to have a reference page. And remember, we need 6 scholarly references. And scholarly references are going to be, obviously, our book is a great example. I always encourage a Christian perspective to be incorporated, so some Bible passages would be another great reference. And then some research that you do on your own. .edus are a great site. If you want to find an accumulation of scholarly works, there's Google Scholar, which incorporates, it only has scholarly information as a part of it. What we want to stay away from is things like opinion articles, wikis. So Wikipedias remember, those aren't very scholarly. Anybody can contribute it to them. Although there is good information, maybe not so scholarly. I'll tell you the truth. I always start with Wikipedia. If I go to the bottom of Wikipedia, there's typically a bunch of references, and then from those references, I can typically find the scholarly articles. So just a little bit of advice. But you can use this template. Remember, here's page 1, here's page 2, and then you have these headers, and this is going to be the body of your paper. We're going to start with an intro. We're going to have a conclusion. We're going to give them a brief background on our subject. We're going to have some fillers and a last reference page. Remember, for our paper, this needs to be 10 to 12 pages. So for this week, I need a title page. You can include last week's abstract, and I want to see you write this intro paragraph for me. This intro paragraph right here. Fill this out, and remember, this is nothing more than a paragraph. And then we're going to go down here to our reference, and I want you to list your 6 scholarly references using that APA format. And then for these, you're going to have some titles. And these can just be bulleted or bold-faced for right now. And we're not going to be writing these. Remember, that's going to be what we are going to be, that's going to be our final paper. So just to reiterate, or for clarification, this week I need a title page. You can attach your abstract from last week. I want you to write your intro paragraph. You can then label your core headers for the filler of your paper. And I want you to have your reference page with 6 scholarly articles. So that's what we have for our template. So I hope that helps. Once again, it doesn't need to be identical. Anything that fits that kind of mold will work. So we have our template. We go down one here, and this is where we're actually going to turn it in by Sunday, February 15th at 11:59. So if you have any questions on that assignment, feel free to email me, but I believe that is fairly clear. We'll now transition to, we'll call that our first assignment this week. Our second assignment is a current event blog. So for our current event blog this week, it's very similar to our discussion board, but because it's a blog, it's when I think of blogs, or in this class, a blog it's more of an opinion paper. So I want your opinion. So I have included the article that I want you to read, and it's from the Harvard Business Review, and it's on net neutrality. So if we open this up, you'll see that here's the link right here, and if we open this link up, we're going to read the Harvard Business Review's. We got our authors here, and it's about net neutrality and the rules that will make winners and losers out of businesses. So the key here is net neutrality. Net neutrality. And if this is a new concept to you, understand that this is something that is an important issue that has got some major research and publicity about it, but it's a very slippery slope. There's a lot of gray areas, and it's all based upon who owns the internet, and based upon who you believe owns the internet, who should regulate the internet. And I want you to read through this article. You can maybe do a little bit of more research, and then there's some questions that I'm going to ask you. And the biggest thing that I want you to think about is these concepts of who actually owns the internet. Does everybody own the internet? Do internet providers own the internet? If I were to do a Google search right now, obviously a site like Google owns that information, and those results that come up, they come up in that order for a reason. Some of it could be because of the way I search. Some of it could be based upon a company paying for it to be there. And if we think of the internet as being unbiased, is it contradictory to think that a private business, will be determining what sites that I can actually search or I can't search? So if we look at that, should there be some sort of government intervention into the regulation of the internet and what of information is available or isn't available? So some of us would think of this as big government versus small government. Some of us would think about this is where the private sector shouldn't be being controlled by the public sector. And I want you to read through this article to begin with, potentially do some additional research, and then I want 500 to 1,000 word about public administration role in regards to net neutrality, and ensuring you include your opinion on government's role when it comes to the regulation of the internet. And so create a blog, post that. For this week, I want you to read through your classmates' discussions, but we don't need to give them any feedback. It's not a discussion board. But remember, this is your opinion. So I don't want to hear that according to this article. I want to hear your opinion as a public administrator. What do you feel about the concept of net neutrality, and what do you feel should be the government's role when it comes to the regulation? If you as a public administrator, should you have your hand in the regulation of the internet and the information that's available? So we have that as our current event blog. So that would be assignment number 1, paper template, assignment 2, current event blog, and assignment 3, quiz number 6, covering chapter 10 and the lecture. So we have those 3 items that are due this week. Once again, by Sunday at 11:59. It's quite a bit of work, I understand, but we're kind of ramping things together. Remember, the template should be fairly formulated in your mind. Hopefully, if you use that template, it will come together real quick, so we don't need to spend a great amount of time. But that template will obviously help us out tremendously when it comes to writing our papers in the next couple weeks. Current event blog, net neutrality. Read through it. Answer me some questions. I want your opinion, and handle your quiz this week. I hope you all have a blessed week. I can't wait to start reading some of your current event blogs, especially, and to look through your papers to make sure that we're all on the right page. And as always, if you have any questions at all, send me an email, and we can get in touch. And hopefully that there's no one here that is going through this blind that's having questions. As always, if I'm not hearing from you, I'm assuming that you have this all figured out, and hopefully you do. So have a great week, and I look forward to the weeks to come. Bye for now.